current affair. Yeah, with Big A. Wake up, tap in, Big A, back in. Headlines, hard facts, cut through the spin. From the block to the globe, truth in every quote. On the line, gotta let the people know. Current affairs with Big A, say what they won't say. Hey, real talk right now, every day turn it up, turn that thing. Current affairs with Big A, breaking through the haze. If it matters, it's on today. Current affairs with Big A, Big A.
Hey, what's happening, family? Hey, it's your boy Big Aharon Yasharahla right back at you. It's another current affairs time. Another current affairs time on this great and wonderful platform. You know what you're watching. It is me, I am him, and he is I. Big A. Family, how y'all doing this morning, this afternoon, this evening? Whenever you can tune in, it don't even matter as long as you tune in. Because we are doing big things. Shalom, my man Rich, what's happening? Missed you last week, my guy. I'm glad you back in here, man. And thank you for sending the stuff you've been sending me. And thank you, Rich, for supporting Naturally Glam. All praise to the Most High. Family, it has been a trying 7 days. Time flies. Time is flying, as we know, according to what the scriptures have given us. Time is moving on a scale that man can't really even comprehend. The only thing that man comprehends is it is already Monday. It's already Tuesday. That's the only thing that we as people or sheeple can comprehend. But again, family, I am glad you are here with me this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you can see my gorgeous mug and hear my wonderful voice. So, without any further ado, family, I want to jump right in, but I hope that you all have had a great week, a great weekend. You know, we have to, as the scriptures say, if we are ones who are of Christ, we are supposed to live in the spirit and not of the flesh. So just because someone is doing something we should not be doing, especially if it's someone that's living in your household who's doing something they shouldn't be doing, a grown person preferably, we shouldn't frown on them. Because the more we frown on that person, the more the Most High frowns on us, because whatever that person is doing wrong, we once did it wrong. And as the scriptures say, we're nothing but filthy rags, right? And we're still trying to get it right. So again, family, without any further ado, why don't we jump right in? Now, you all know I start out with what is called the saying of the day. Now, I'm always looking for a relevant or a good saying of the day. But this saying of the day, family, comes from none other than the book that people call the Bible, or Brief Instructions Before Leaving Earth. Now, I must say this. I'm not a preacher. I'm not an ordained preacher, a minister, nor a deacon. But I can tell you, or read to you, or regurgitate to you what's been taught to me, right? So the saying of the day this evening, family, comes from the book of Sirach, chapter 19, 18 through 20. Sirach, or a second name that people are familiar with, Ecclesiasticus. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19, verse 18 through 20, which reads, family, verse 18 through 20 of chapter 19 of Sirach. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. Verse 19, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things to please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. Verse 20 and final verse. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. I'll read that one more time, verses 18 through 20 of the chapter 19 of Sirach. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, family. And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. The fear of the Lord, family, is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. And the reason I came up, Shalom family, Shalom Miss Lady, how are you doing? The reason I picked out that scripture for the saying of the day is because of things that are going on in this world. This world is not what the Most High originally intended for man. It is not. This world fell once Adam and Eve fell. So this world is a different world than we were supposed to be in. With that said, family, the Most High is great in all his ways, as we know. And his creations, the Most High is great in all his ways, as we know, and his creations. So when he created plants, he also made healing plants, which is my first article of this evening. Healing plants, plants that heal you while you sleep. And this is so profound, family, healing plants, because look at what's going on in this world. We see all these things trying to choke us out. We see bad air, pollution, bad water, pollution, bad food, pollution. We see what's going on with the chemtrails in the air, allegedly. Shalom, what's going on? Yes, sir. That is some good news. Thank you, Richard. That's some good news from Sirach. But we see all this pollution going on around us, family, and the powers that be, or the powers that shouldn't be, are trying to choke us out in more ways than one. The essential things we need: food, water, air. Right? So, my first article, family, healing plants. Plants that heal you while you sleep. And I'm bringing this out because we need it, and also because it's very intriguing. And it could be following the news that you could use or not. Right? The jasmine plant. Scientists compared it to a mild sedative. The jasmine plant heals you while you are asleep. It is compared to a mild sedative to help you sleep. The jasmine plant. The lavender plant, family, slows your heart rate and your blood pressure. And these plants that I'm mentioning, family, all help you while you sleep. So the jasmine plant slows your heart rate while you sleep and your blood pressure, helping to alleviate high blood pressure. Because what does it say? The body heals itself when you're sleeping. Food for thought, right? I don't know if anyone has heard of the snake plant, but the snake plant releases oxygen as you sleep. It just so happens in my home, in my bathroom, on my side of the bathroom, yes, we have his and her side of the bathroom, we have a snake plant. And I looked at it. The snake plant almost looked like it's plastic. But I didn't realize that the snake plant releases oxygen as you sleep. So when I read that, I was like, well, it's in my bathroom. I'm going to move that to my bedroom. How about that? To give me more oxygen when I sleep. Because I sleep with a fan on. We sleep with a fan on because we don't like to sleep hot. The spider plant family is it quietly removes carbon monoxide. Now, carbon monoxide is something that is detrimental to us, especially when we sleep. So if you grab a spider plant, the spider plant quietly removes carbon monoxide. Now, we all know about aloe vera plant. Aloe vera plant, we know, take a piece of it, you got to burn, rub it on there, you got to scar, rub it on there. It will eventually heal those, right? But another healing factor is that the aloe vera plant is another nighttime oxygen producer. So the aloe vera plant also produces oxygen at night as we sleep. And we need these things, family. Look at what's going on today. We see they're still building things. That means they're cutting down trees. Trees produce oxygen. Shalom, what's happening? Glad you could join in. Shalom. We also have the peace lily. The peace lily absorbs the toxin fumes from furniture that give off, because I didn't know this. So the peace lily family, I didn't know that furniture gives off toxic fumes at night, and the peace lily absorbs those fumes. I mean, listen, that trips me out. It's insane to me that a piece of furniture gives off a toxic fume. But it makes sense because furniture is wood and wood is a tree. And it sounds like to me that if furniture is giving off a toxic fume at night, that wood or that plant that was cut down is upset. And so there we have the peace lily to make amends and absorb the toxic fumes from the furniture. And last but not least, family, we have the English ivy. And the English ivy is good because the English ivy family cuts airborne mold up to 94% overnight. The English ivy plant cuts up to 94% of airborne mold overnight. And that's great because, one, for myself and my wife, really my wife, because she suffers from allergies. And she sneezes. When she starts to sneeze, it's over. It's crazy. I'm pretty sure other people have allergies as well. All praise to the Most High. I don't suffer from allergies, but if my wife suffers, I suffer too. Bear each other's burdens, right? As a part of the body. So I want to put that out there, family, to give you a little bit of information as far as what plants do for us. And just a little FYI, family, when you water your plants, talk to your plants. Plants are a living thing, living organisms, or they're living. You talk to your plants, it's a proven thing. It will grow faster. It will grow bigger. It will protect you in ways that you don't even know, in the ways I just spoke of. So, with that said, family, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the second article that I have. Again, these articles that I'm bringing out, family, are things that news you can use or maybe not. It's good to sing to your plants in the morning, because where does music come from? The Most High. And the Most High gave us plants, so everything goes hand in hand. Nothing, family, can be taken for granted. Nothing, right? So moving along, family. Thank you for that insight, family. My next article, family, world is entitled World War III for Water has just begun. World War III for water has just begun. Now, when I found this article, Shalom, how you doing, Israel? Kevin Israel, what's happening? When I found this article, I was like, wow, that's pretty deep. But when you think about it, I'm 48 years old. When I was a kid, there was no such thing as bottled water. We were drinking out the faucet. We were drinking out of the hose outside. There was no need for bottled water. But then I heard one of my elders at church say, Once they came out with bottled water, it was a wrap for tap water, right? If the powers that be are bringing to us to the forefront bottled water, there must be a reason. But when it came about, no one put two and two together. We really didn't start putting two and two together in mass quantity until this age of information, technology era, now the age of AI. See how they did that? Age of information, technology era, internet, AI. Deep. But World War III for water has just begun. Now check this out, family. If you didn't know these points that I'm going to bring about. China, family, is spending 176 billion with a B as in boy, $176 billion on a dam. The Me-Dog, now check this out, not be confused with the Bible says, the Me-Dog mega project will outpower three gorges 3-1 on a river that flows into India and Bangladesh with no water sharing treaty. So China has built a dam that will outpower some gorges 3-1 on a river that on a shared river that flows into both India and Bangladesh. And the issue with that is that there's no water sharing treaty. So China is just taking over. Also, what goes along with World War III for water has just begun. India versus Pakistan. The Indus River, family. Two nuclear powers are fighting over one river. India suspended the 1960 Indus Water Treaty. Pakistan grows over 90% of its crops that water. So Pakistan grows over 90% of its crops from the Indus River that water its crops, and they call this any diversion of this is an act of war. So because India has suspended the 1960 Indus Water Treaty between India and Pakistan, and this Indus River also flows into Pakistan, they call this a war, an act of war, because 90% of its crops is relies on this Indus River. Also going a little bit further, a little bit deeper into this, family, and this all comes back to us here in the United States, because what's going on abroad in the East will come here to the West, and it slowly is. I will show you. Stay tuned, right? Ethiopia versus Egypt, the Nile River. We all know about the Nile, the Great Nile River. It talks about it in the great book, in the Bible, the Brief Instructions Before Leaving Earth book, right? Ethiopia built Africa's biggest dam, the Nile, and Egypt calls it an existential threat. Egypt relies on the river for 90% of its fresh water. And after 13 years, the talks for 13 years between Ethiopia and Egypt, there's no deal. Ethiopia built Africa's biggest dam on the Nile River, and Egypt calls this an existential threat because Ethiopia built this dam which cuts off a lot of water supply. And this was talked about by me a little while ago, and also if you keep your ear to the ground overseas a while ago, right? Now, check this out, family. Now, this next one really blew my mind because this one hits home. Saudi Arabia, and this all falls under the same title, World War III for water has just begun. Now, Saudi Arabia has farmed Arizona, the Arizona in the United States. Saudi Arabia farmed the Arizona desert for free water. You heard me right. Saudi Arabia has farmed the Arizona desert for free water. A Saudi dairy giant pumped unlimited Arizona groundwater to grow alfalfa. I'm going to repeat that, family. A Saudi dairy giant pumped unlimited Arizona underground water or groundwater to grow alfalfa. Alfalfa is banned in Saudi Arabia. And what Saudi Arabia did, they are shipping the alfalfa hay 8,000 miles, while the neighbor, where it was pumped from, the neighboring wells that it was pumped from ran dry. So my thing is this: how can the so-called United States allegedly allow Saudi Arabia to go into Arizona, the desert, and pump? It's a desert, and they pumped water from underground to grow alfalfa hay. Alfalfa hay, which is banned in Saudi Arabia, but they let them do it here in Arizona. Grow the hay in Arizona and take it back to Saudi Arabia. An 8,000-mile trek back there. It is uncanny how this has happened, or how they let it happen, why they let it happen. And the last one I have for World War III in the water: the sea that vanished. The Aral Sea, A-R-A-L, the Aral Sea has vanished, family. If you've never heard of the Aral Sea, the A-R-A-L-C, Aral Sea has vanished. At one time, it was the world's fourth largest lake. The Soviet River has drained 90% of it. And now its fishing fleets rust over 100 kilometers from the water. So the Aral Sea, A-R-A-L, right? Over there near the Soviet Union. It is 90% drained. Let's just say it's completely drained. And when you look at the Aral Sea, there was a fishing fleet in the Aral Sea. These great big naval ships are now on the bottom of the sea, rusted. All because the powers that be, the country powers that be, want to have all the power. They're sucking up one of the world commodity, what the world needs: water, H2O, to survive. Water is life, and they know this. If you don't have water, found to drink, you will perish faster than food, of the lack of food. So I want to bring that out, family, that we are living in the last days. We truly are. Shalom, Ms. Jackson. How you doing? We truly are. And the things the powers that be are doing, they're really choking us out in every way possible. In every way possible. That's why it's imperative, family, that we are self-sustaining, that we come together as a body and stay together as a body. As the scriptures say, do not forsake the assembly. We cannot afford to forsake the assembly. Get out your emotions and bring your butt to Shabbat. Bring your butt to church. Not on Sunday, but on Saturday. Bring your butt to church. Now, moving right along, family, I do have an FYI for you about the global elite, right? I have more than normal things to talk about this evening, this afternoon, this morning when you can listen to me. I have an FYI about the global elite. and about the the thing that happened in 2020. We all know that the global elite allegedly failed to vaccinate everyone with their gene-altering mRNA technology during the so-called pandemic, right? Allegedly, family, they're trying through your plate now, the food that you eat. Here we go again. Mr. Bill Gates backed a biotech firm called Tirana Biosciences, birthed by Moderna, have allegedly made this a reality. I repeat that. A Bill Gates backed biotech firm called Tirana Biosciences. Tirana Biosciences was birthed by Moderna. We all know Moderna, right? Have allegedly made this a reality. They infuse allegedly mRNA into pork, or they have infused allegedly mRNA vaccine into pork, spinach and lettuce, farmed fish and shrimp, beef and poultry, tomatoes and potatoes, corn and soy. I'll repeat that. Allegedly, the Bill Gates backed biotech firm called Tirana Biosciences, which is birthed and or backed by Moderna, have allegedly made this a reality. They have allegedly put into certain foods such as pork, farmed fish and shrimp, tomatoes, potatoes, spinach and lettuce, beef and poultry, corn and soy, which almost covers the whole spectra of food. Just about. But if we have Christ in our veins, if we have the Most High in us, if we have those scriptures written on our hearts, we will be okay. We will be fine. Just as when Moses in his day, when they had that serpent and the serpent would bite them and they would be okay and the serpent wouldn't hurt them because they had the Most High through Christ in them. Or the way it's labeled in the store is you have to look for certain things that you haven't seen before. Cultured is one of the words. Cultured, cultivated are the words you want to look for, Miss Jackson. Cultured or cultivated. We've never seen those words before. But there are apps out there to tell you now, family, what is in these foods. What actually cultivated. Cultured or cultivated. Absolutely. This is another reason why I say, family, we have to keep on the entire armor of the Most High. We have to stay prayed up. The scriptures tell us that in these days, we have to pray more and constantly because the enemy is walking around seeing who he can devour. And he is doing it. He jumped into Peter when Peter was talking to Christ. And Christ said, "Get behind me, Satan." When Christ was telling Peter that he had to be on the cross. Cold-blooded, slick. I mean, this is the day and age we're living in. And to think the prophets would like to have seen these days. But now we're living these days. But we were born for this. That's another reason the scriptures say the fearful will not make it. Don't be fearful of what's going on in this world, but fear the Most High. Fear the Most High. Absolutely. Pardon me. Absolutely fear the Most High. Now, I don't want to just talk about, harp on that. But family, my next article, I have to keep it moving because I have a few things going on. My next article, family, is really hard to hear, so prepare yourselves. And again, I want to thank everyone for listening to me this evening, this morning, this afternoon. My next article is titled, Second Grade Beating. And I hate to have titled it that, but I wanted to get you in the mindset of where I'm going. Second grade beating. Allegedly, family, a bathroom hanging incident happened November 15th, 2024 at C. Paul Barnhart Elementary School in Waldorf, Maryland. A second grade beating. A bathroom hanging allegedly incident happened, family, back November 15th, 2024 at C. Paul Barnhart Elementary School in Waldorf, Maryland. A 7-year-old second grader was hospitalized, family, with a neck contusion after his jacket allegedly caught a stall hook while he was in the restroom with an older student. The school administrators initially described the event as horseplay gone wrong before launching a formal review. However, family, this attack on the second grader came from a fourth grader who left him unconscious and foaming at the mouth before being found by the principal. The boy was hospitalized but survived. All praise to the Most High. There's more to the story, family, but this is insane. We have here a second grade boy being sounds like tortured and bullied and beat up by a fourth grader. So the second grader was 7 years old. So that puts the fourth grader at what, 10? What the heck is going on in this world to where one boy would beat up another boy? One kid would beat up another kid. Now, I can more so understand, not to this extent, but one older brother beating up a younger brother because the younger brother is getting on the older brother's nerves. I can understand that, but not to this extent to where the boy had suffered a neck contusion. The boy was foaming at the mouth. So my next question is, why was a second grader in the bathroom with a fourth grader? An apparently much older boy, although by grades it's only 2 grades, but a much older boy. My other thought is, and yes, this is a concern, what race were the boys? And I ask these questions because I could not find this in my findings on the research. Clearly, the boy who got abused and almost unalived, his parents were black. Now, when they did the interview, the parents elected not to show their faces, but you can clearly tell there are people of color. But it does not answer the question of what color spectrum was the boy who committed this heinous act. I mean, how can you have 2 babies fighting and one baby almost unaliving the other? Which brings me to another scripture, family. From the same book, the book of Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, chapter 41, 5 through 6. Because this child has to be a child of a sinner. The one who did the act of the beating has to be. Makes no sense to me. But Sirach 41, 5 through 6 reads, "The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly." Verse 6, "The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach." Let me repeat that again. Let me read that again. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity family shall have a perpetual reproach. Evil parents have evil kids, is basically what that is saying. And again, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a deacon. I'm not a priest. I'm not a father as a father that's given the word. But I'm a man of the Most High. Family, again, stay prayed up. This world, as people say, is going to hell in a handbasket. Isn't that one of the adages people say? Because the world is so evil, let that not be you. This world is crazy. This world is crazy. But my next topic, family, moving along from that, my next topic is good news from around the world. And boy, after those few things that I just mentioned, we need some good news. We need some very good news in this world today because there's so many tragedies going on in this world. But let me bring you some good news from around the world. Here we go. A Nigerian doctor, check this out, family. A Nigerian doctor removed a baby from a woman's womb at 23 weeks. Took the baby out the womb at 23 weeks, removed a tumor, and then placed the baby back inside the womb. How vigilant is that? How godlike, how Christ-like is that? A baby that was 23 weeks old was removed from the mother's womb by a Nigerian doctor and placed back inside the womb after the doctor removed a tumor. The baby was then born healthy at 36 weeks with no issues. You can't make this up. You can look this up. A South African researcher invented a device family to protect against rape called the rape axe. The rape axe attaches to the attacker and only a surgeon can remove it. Now, how great is that? We have too many people getting not unalived, but too many women getting that area unalived. And so a scientist, a South African researcher, has invented what is called the rape axe, in which a person gets dealt with in that manner, gets ravished in that manner. This thing attaches to the attacker, and only the surgeon can take it off. So you can't tell me that, Sylvester didn't take it from Betty, right? Or Sylvester didn't take it from Karen, right? So check this out, moving along. In Nigeria, a place called Makoko, a floating school has been created, family, for children to receive education despite constant flooding. So in Nigeria, a place called Makoko has constant flooding. So someone created a floating school so children can get an education. I mean, how brilliant is that? Look at our people. In Kenya, family, women are turning discarded plastic waste into affordable wheelchairs for disabled children. So some women in Kenya took some old plastic, and they're making wheelchairs for children who need these wheelchairs, right? I mean, you can't beat this. Again, good news, family, from around the world, because the Most High knows we need it. Egypt finally defeats malaria after 100 years of struggle. Egypt finally defeats malaria with a vaccine after 100 years of struggle. We also have, family, good news from around the world. A surgeon saved a boy's life as a teen, right? There was a surgeon who saved a boy's life as a teenager. The boy was a teenager. And now they both operate for charity in Ethiopia together. Right? In Ethiopia, and a Ghana hosted a historic global. Listen, you can't beat that. So a doctor saved the teen's life. The teen became a doctor, and they both operate together for a charity in Ethiopia. Now check this out, family. Ghana hosted a historic global. Check this out. I can barely even say it. Can barely even say when I read it. Ghana hosted a historic global reparations summit, bringing together delegates from over 80 countries to discuss the future of reparatory justice for the descendants of enslaved Africans and / Israelites. Good news from around the world. You can look this up. Ghana hosted a historic global reparations summit, bringing together delegates from over 80 countries, family, to discuss the future of reparatory justice for the descendants of enslaved Africans / Israelites. You can't make this up. We also have where Swiss scientists have developed blood tests that detect any cancer 10 years early with a drop of blood. Wow. So scientists in the Swiss can take a drop of blood and detect cancer 10 years early, if there is any. Now also, by the end of 2026, there will be some eye drops that will correct vision without the need for glasses. And it will be available for sale at the end of 2026. So that's a good feat, but that will put eye doctors out of business. And finally, family, Scotland makes history with the first country to make women's first of the month products free for everyone, or women's that time of the month product free for everyone. So those are some good things from around the world, and we need some good talk, family, because too much stuff is happening, and it's happening on a constant, everyday basis, back to back to back to back to back. But another good thing, another constant, family, is Naturally Glam Skincare and Cosmetics. Naturally Glam Skincare and Cosmetics, family, is what my wife has made. Skincare products for women and men and women, in which you can get yoni steams for women, lotions for women, just about any kind of skincare products for women, men's beard care products. You can also get sea moss juice and gel. You can check this thing out. It's all natural, no chemical base whatsoever. And I really endorse this product because I too use them as well. Even the deodorant. You can ask around about the deodorant. The deodorant is off the chain. And I, for one, do labor work, construction, and it works for me. Now, moving along, family. You know, there have been numerous recalls in the past, and there have been another recall on eggs. Don't know if you know about this, but a major recall is currently underway, family, because of possible salmonella enteriditis. Not just salmonella, but salmonella enteriditis for egg recalls. The recall, family, includes about 19 million eggs from Midwest Poultry Services LP. So the company is called Midwest Poultry Services LP, that were produced at 2 Texas farms. So an egg recall from a company called Midwest Poultry Services LP that were produced at 2 Texas farms. The eggs were distributed, family, at retailers and food services in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, New Mexico, and Mississippi. Now, I'll read those states again. Texas, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Arkansas, or Arkansas, as some people say. Now, some of the affected brands, family, were Kroger, Simple Truth, Brookshire's, Country Morning, and Sun Ups. I repeat the affected brands. Sun Ups, Brookshire's, Simple Truth, Kroger, and Country Morning. Those are all the egg recalls that were in which the brands that were affected. All right. I have a lot going on this evening, family, and I also told you all, family, that I would bring to you all what is called Black excellence. We need to have more Black excellence talked about, and not just in the month of February. And so I have come up with Black excellence to bring you all something of valor to this platform, something that we can talk about that is not having us down. But in this episode of Black excellence, family, I present to you all none other than Mary Van Brittan Brown. Mary Van Brittan Brown. Before security systems became a fixture in homes, an African-American nurse named Mary Van Brittan Brown devised, family, an early security unit for her new home. This because living in Queens, New York, and being home alone at night because her husband worked a lot, there was a lot of crime, right? So in 1966, family, Mary Van Brittan Brown invented a system that used a camera that could look through 4 peepholes in her front door. Not just 1 peephole, but she had 4. From the home, that will keep me your eggs from there, Miss Jackson. Keep me your eggs from whatever works for you, it works for you, right? Now, in 1966, family, I repeat this, Brown invented a system that used a camera that could look through 4 peepholes in her front door. The camera's view appeared on a monitor in her home so she could monitor potentially unwanted guests. Now, Ms. Brown added other features to the system, including a microphone to speak, a button to unlock a door, and a button to contact the police. Now, this, although she made this in 1966, it did not get patented until 1969. So moving right along, family, I do have a few more things I want to bring to you. Right? Moving right along. So for those of you who missed some things I talked about, let me just recap very quickly. I did have a saying of the day, which I spoke of, that came from the book of Sirach, from chapter 19 in the book of Sirach, or the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19, verses 18 through 20, which actually reads, family, and I'll read that very quickly for the saying of the day. The fear of the Lord is the first step to being accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. And they that do these things please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. The fear of the Lord is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law and the knowledge of his omnipotency. That was the saying of the day. I also mentioned healing plants, jasmine, which is compared to a mild sedative. So these healing plants help you at night. Jasmine helps you to sleep. Lavender helps you to sleep, which it slows your heart rate and your blood pressure at night. You have the snake plant, which releases oxygen as you sleep. The spider plant removes carbon monoxide as you sleep. The aloe vera plant is another nighttime oxygen producer. The peace lily absorbs toxins from furniture, because furniture at night gives off toxins. certain furnitures, and the English ivy cuts airborne mold up at night up to 94%. We have countries fighting over water, such as China making a dam that costs $167 billion to make, which actually cuts off water flow from Bangladesh and India. There's also India and Pakistan, which you have the Indus River, and India suspended a 1960s contract, water contract that actually takes away water from Pakistan. We have Ethiopia and Egypt for the Nile River, in which Ethiopia built Africa's biggest dam, and they are taking all the water supply away from Egypt. Saudi Arabia came over here to the United States, and they farmed Arizona, and they made alfalfa hay, which is actually banned in Saudi Arabia, but they were able to do that here in the United States and take it back over to Saudi Arabia, right? So then, family, I'm just going through my notes, making sure I didn't miss anything here. We have the global elitists allegedly putting the mRNA vaccine into certain things like pork, spinach, lettuce, farmed fish and shrimp, beef and poultry, corn and soy, tomatoes and potatoes. Allegedly, the powers that be, the elite, are doing this. There was also, I mentioned, a second grade beating in Waldorf, Maryland, family, back in 2024 at C. Paul Barnhart Elementary School, where a second grader was allegedly beaten up by a fourth grade student and put into injured very badly. Did not pass by the graces of the Most High. I also mentioned good news from around the world, in which a Nigerian doctor removed a tumor from a baby that was in a mother's womb, to the baby out the womb. The baby was 23 weeks old. Remove the tumor, put the baby back in, and the baby was born at 36 weeks with no issues. There also was mentioned, family, malaria in Egypt. Egypt finally defeated malaria after 100 years. There was some women in Kenya who takes discarded plastic. They take the plastic and they make wheelchairs for children that are in need. Also spoke of Naturally Glam and the benefits of Naturally Glam. I just spoke of an egg recall in which there was Salmonella enteritis that actually came from a company called Midwest Poultry Services LP that have two farms in Texas, right? And these two farms in Texas, they actually disrupted not some cities, but some states: Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, New Mexico, and Mississippi. And the brands that were affected by this egg recall are Kroger, Brookshire's, Simple Truth, Country Morning, and Sunups. I never heard of Sunups, but okay. Also brought to you Black Excellence, Mary Van Britton Brown, who actually made the first security system in 1966, and it didn't get patented until 1969. And she made the security system because she lived in Long Island, New York. I mean, in Queens, New York. And in Queens, New York, it was a bad area, and she was home most of the time because her husband had to work. And last but not least, family, I want to bring to you, I hate to bring to you this last thing on a sad note, but a young lady called, her name is Jordan Duncan. Jordan Duncan was a 7-year-old from Long Island, New York. Long Island, New York, a 7-year-old named Jordan Duncan, on December 24th, was placed by Suffolk County Child Protective Services in the care of her father's fiance, Emily Kelly. Emily Kelly got full guardianship of Miss Jordan Duncan on April 2025, right? According to prosecutors, Jordan endured months of severe physical abuse beginning early in 2025. She suffered 90 documented injuries. And December 29th, 2025, sadly, Jordan Duncan was unalived after being taken to a hospital in cardiac arrest. A 70-year-old been taken to a hospital in cardiac arrest. The medical examiner determined she died from a massive untreated infection caused by sharp force injuries. Prosecutors allege they recovered extensive photos and videos from phones and cloud storage documenting the abuse, evidence that was restrained from prolonged periods, evidence also that she was denied medical treatment despite serious injuries. Now, there were also 3 women from the same family that were indicted because of her unaliving. There was a lady named Emily Kelly who was charged with second-degree murder and other offenses. Barbara Renner, Kelly's mother, was charged with manslaughter and related charges. Alyssa Seymour, Kelly's daughter, was charged with unlawful imprisonment and child endangerment offenses. Now, these 3, of course, pled not guilty. And allegedly, the girl was tied up and tortured in a bathtub. Now, you can actually look this up about Jordan Duncan. Family, listen again. I've come basically to the end of the evening, so I don't have any jokes for us this evening, family. But lambacking, I'm not saying piggybacking, lambacking off that last story is Jordan Duncan. She was a baby. And we know what the scriptures say about harming children. It is better for that person to have not been born. It is better for that person to have a millstone tied around their neck and dropped into the sea. That is what the scriptures say. That is not what I say. Again, I'm not a preacher. I'm not a deacon. I'm not a father of the scriptures. All I can do is tell you what the scriptures say. Regurgitate to you what the brief instructions before leaving earth book tells us. And it tells us to take care of these children. It tells us to take care of the elderly. It tells us to beware of how we treat children. Yes, my goodness, Miss Jackson. It saddens me to have said that on the last article. But I do want to say this, family. Love yourself. Love the Most High first and foremost with your whole heart, mind, body, soul, and spirit. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. We need to fear Him with every fiber within our being, because all we have is the Most High through Christ. He is all we have. And with that said, family, I just want to encourage you to love your family, love your neighbor. Love each other is not an easy thing to do, but as long as we are in the love of Christ and the truth of Christ, we shall make it. And everything we have been taught to do in this Bible, we shall endure to the end, family. And again, I want to thank everyone for listening to me this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you can. I want to thank those in the background who make this possible. But above all, I want to thank the Most High for making all of this possible, all of us possible. And I want to say thank you all, family. Have a good night. Be blessed. Sin not. Shalom. Shalom. I love you all. Be blessed.
Music Fest, the hottest gospel family event, is happening in Elon, North Carolina. Bring your family and friends for a day full of inspiring gospel music, uplifting performances, and a celebration of faith and community.
Me and my house, we serve the Lord.
Don't miss out on the most electrifying gospel experience of the summer.
Turn it up. Oh, let's go.
We serve the Lord. All of our days, 2 questions away. We serve the Lord.
Truth Music Fest.
Turn the music up, yeah.
We serve the Lord.
Truth bombs at the mic. Aharon Yasharahla lighting up the night. Vigilant watchmen never snoring off the grind. Eyes on the news, peeping all the signs. They sling lies, we bringing clarity. Breaking down the script, straight sincerity. Headlines shifty, gotta stay woke. Truth in every word, not just a hefty joke. Current affairs, tune in, y'all listen close. Aharon Yasharahla hit you with the most. No fluff, just facts, we dissecting the scene. Radio wave, sharp, cut and clean. Modern day prophets, echoes of the past. We see through the smoke, these lies won't last. Real talk, mountains from the molehills. Truth reigns supreme over fake thrills. Government plots, we expose the schemes. Politics dirty, trying to crush dreams. From the ghettos to the burbs, we keep it raw. Current affairs, y'all feeling every law. Current affairs, tune in, y'all listen close. Aharon Yasharahla hit you with the most. No fluff, just facts, we dissecting the scene. Radio wave, sharp, cut and clean.